Hi everybody, welcome to Demon Kitty Creations. I'm your host Tashi and welcome to my channel. I was filming intros and outros and I realized that I had promised a video explaining where I'd been, why I hadn't been posting regularly, and what's going on with that. And I never did. So here is that video. I'm not sure when I'll be posting this. I'm trying to keep to my regular schedule so that I don't flood my feed one week and then disappear for another week. So hold on. There, that's a slightly more flattering angle on me. So here's the deal. I have suffered from severe depression and anxiety since I started nursing school when I was 17. Looking back, I'm pretty sure I had anxiety disorder long before then. I just didn't recognize it. I thought that I was just really grade-driven, really OCD about my grades and about, doing things right. No, I was actually just scared to do things wrong. But the last few months have been pretty hard on me. When it comes to the depression, the anxiety, my medication stopped working. They upped it, but all it did was send me into hypomanic episodes. Which, as I just found out last week, I'm actually bipolar 2. The main difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 is that bipolar 2 tends to be, I don't really want to say less severe, but less severe is kind of the way I should word it. I don't have full-blown manic episodes where I hallucinate and I go off the rails. I don't sleep at all. Nothing happens. I'm just sitting there going from one thing to another, basically trashing the house because I start one activity and then I go to the next. That's not really what happens when I'm manic. The best example is the longest manic episode I ever had was about 3 or 4 years ago, and I spent 3 days manic. I didn't get anything accomplished during those 3 days. But I didn't start anything either. That's the thing. For me, when I'm manic, it's usually, hey, friend X, I'm going to do this and it's going to be epic. 10 minutes later, hey, friend X, never mind, I'm going to do this and it's going to be epic. And I just spend hours just bouncing ideas off of people. Sometimes it's the same friend over and over. Sometimes it's a different friend. Now that I'm married, sometimes it's my husband. Sometimes it's my roommate. Sometimes it's just myself. Sometimes I sit there and I don't think I'm talking to myself. Nobody's ever told me I'm talking to myself. But I'm just sitting there just bouncing ideas back and forth in my head. And I want to do it. And I need to do it. But I usually don't, because every time I think I have a good idea, I switch to another idea. The most recent episodes have been more focused. My house is kind of a disaster. We never really got out of that just moving in phase when we moved into this place. The last time I was manic, I folded 3 baskets of laundry, ran 2 loads of laundry, folded them, cleaned my entire bathroom, and still wanted to keep going. And that was like 7 hours of work. That was almost a full work day. And I was running on like next to no sleep. So I woke up way earlier than I normally do on my day off. I had no control over how much I wanted to do. Like, I was going to put up a towel rack, but I couldn't find the towel rack. I was going to do this, but I couldn't find it. And it got to an extent that I realized, because I thought my medication was working. Oh, great, my depression meds are working. I don't have to worry about, not feeling like doing crap anymore. No, I learned pretty quickly that I was manic, and being manic is not the same as my medication working. It usually lasts a few hours to a day. Like I said, the longest was 3 days. So I finally went to a doctor, an actual psychiatrist, and I told him what was going on. And the very first thing he said to me was, you basically read the symptoms and definition of bipolar 2 out of the textbook. So he's giving me medication for that. I haven't really gotten to take it much yet. I took it once and it kept me basically comatose for a 24-hour period. I was barely conscious for most of the time, and I was at work during this, so that was a fun work day. Now then, I got all my work done and I checked it the next day and I did all right. I was just very, very tired. I was having trouble staying awake, having trouble focusing. I almost went home, but then the symptoms subsided and I was focused, and I still had like 4.5 hours, 5 hours left in my workday. I was like, well, while I'm focused, I'm going to take care of this. Came home, immediately crashed. I crashed so hard I thought it was the next day when it was like 2 hours later. So that's not like me. I take naps, but that wasn't a nap. So I'm going to start taking that at night. In addition to that, when I turned 16, I went 3 months without a period. And that wasn't like me. I was very regular from the first day I started until up to that point. I talked to my doctor. My doctor said that she didn't see anything wrong with it. I'm still growing, therefore I can be irregular. Okay. I mean, it made sense to me. I started gaining weight, uncontrollably gaining weight. I was tired all the time. I couldn't hold my head up some days. I spent a lot of time just curled up. I started developing depression. I started noticing strange hair growth on my chin and neck. I started having really, really bad periods. To the point where I would spike a fever, I'd throw up. I didn't have any energy, even more than normal, and like I said, I was always tired as is. I started exhibiting most of the classic signs of pregnancy, which concerned me because I was a virgin at the time. There was literally no way I could be pregnant. So what's wrong with me? A few years down the road, I put all the symptoms together and I figured out that I probably had what's known as PCOS. PCOS is called polycystic ovarian syndrome. You can have it without having cysts on your ovaries, but cysts are, a common trait. Other common traits are weight gain, acne, which I still have. You can see it underneath this poorly done makeup. Unusual hair growth, thicker hair growth. I'm not going to show you my stomach, but it looks kind of like a man's. Depression, weight gain. I think I already said that, but that's a big one for me, so I'm gonna say it again. Irregular periods, worse than average periods. Basically everything that I had been experiencing, that I knew I had been experiencing, it was a symptom of it. So I was still going to a pediatrician at this point, because apparently in my area you can go to a pediatrician until you're 21. So I went to my pediatrician and I told her all my symptoms and I told her what I thought it was, and she said, yeah, it could definitely be that. I'm like, well, how do I find out if it is? For sure. She's like, well, I can't diagnose it because it requires a specialist. You would have to see a gynecologist. She's like, but you're not sexually active. You're not looking to have a kid. There's no real reason to send you to a gynecologist for this right now. You're not really, all they're going to do is give you birth control until you're ready to have a child. I'm like, oh, okay. I wasn't happy with that response because a lot of times another symptom of PCOS is infertility or difficulty conceiving. And well, I was worried about that. You know, I was only 19, but I wanted to have a kid someday. And my mom would follow me into my doctor's office appointments, and I couldn't tell my doctor that in front of my mom. So I just took the birth control and I moved on. I was 22 years old. I finally went to a new doctor. This is when I got on my first depression medication, because I was finally able to talk to a doctor without my mother in the room. I get in there, I explain to her all of my symptoms, tell her that my last doctor thought that I had PCOS, and she said, well, I could definitely see that being possible. I'm like, awesome. How do I go about figuring out if it is? She's like, well, you'll have to go to a gynecologist. Here's my recommendation for a gynecologist. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, at least she's paying attention to me. Go to the gynecologist. Gynecologist blows me off. Basically says, yeah, you could potentially have it, but you're not having kids right now. You're not sexually active. We're just gonna wait. No need in checking now. Great, thanks, lady. I switched to a new gynecologist after that because I didn't like being treated that way. Not only that, but she just had a horrible bedside manner, and I will spare you the gory details of that one. So I went to another gynecologist. Same deal. Only this time she felt around my stomach, said, I don't feel any cysts, so I don't know. And moved on. Well, I said, poo on you, I'm not going to you anymore. And I finally went to my current gynecologist. And after 7 years, 4 doctors, this would be my 5th, and a lot of worrying, I finally got a positive diagnosis. I walked in, the doctor walked in. She asked me what was going on. I said that I was looking to conceive, but I was told that I possibly have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I want to know if I do or not. And she goes, well, let's find out. No, oh, well, is the other thing. She just said, let's do it. Performed 2 simple tests that took all of like 30 minutes. Not on the same day because they had to be scheduled, because you know how the American health system is. But within a month of seeing her, I had a positive diagnosis, which started a very long process for me and my husband to conceive, because a positive diagnosis on this meant that it's possible we won't be able to conceive naturally. Now here's the thing. My fear came true there. After 4 months, I didn't have a period. If you don't have a period, you can't conceive. So they gave me something to force ovulation so that when I do have my period, we have a higher chance, because we know for a fact that I will ovulate at XYZ dates. I've had that medication sitting in my drawer for a month and a half now. We'll see where it goes, but at this point it's going to be a long journey, and that's why we started it now, because we knew it would be a long journey, because even without a positive diagnosis, I knew that I have PCOS. This has been a very, very difficult few months. I finally got a diagnosis that I'm not crazy. I really do have PCOS. I really do have bipolar disorder. And it really took a weight off me, but it put several back on. And throughout all of this, we have the usual adult problems: money, bills, work, life, all of that fun stuff. But I am determined to get this channel back on track. I know there's not very many of you out there that actually watch, and thank you so much to those who do. I appreciate it beyond what you'll ever know, what you'll ever understand. I really appreciate the support, because seeing my watch hours grow, seeing my views go up every time I post a video, as shallow and stupid as it sounds, it makes me feel better. And I know that if I ever get followers that aren't friends and family, there's going to be a lot of negativity too, and I know that given the fact that I do have depression, it's going to be rough. But I don't care. I'm just excited to be on YouTube and finally be doing something that I've wanted to do for years. So, thank you to everybody who stuck around and continues to stick around. Thank you for everybody who subscribed. If you happen to be new and this happens to be the first video you see of mine, I am so sorry. It's just me rambling on about my mental and emotional health, and I am very, very sorry about that. I promise you I have better videos. I have videos about dice and videos about, resin and crafts and unboxings and more fun stuff. I'm a huge nerd, so if you like nerds and you don't mind me being a little loony every now and then, or a little depressed every now and then, please like and subscribe to my channel and you will get to see content that is not like this. So that's all for today. Thank you so much if you stayed this long enough to make it to the end. I know it's not easy. I'm basically just lamenting, but have a great day, everybody. And remember, even if all the doctors say that you don't need to know, or they can't give you the answer, keep looking. You'll find the answer. You just have to keep looking. And if you live in the state of Ohio, West Virginia, or Kentucky, it's going to take a while, but you will find it. Thank you, everybody, and this is Demon Kitty Tashi signing out. Bye!